All right, all you devils, happy Monday. Here we are, the 23rd, and we're going to take a look at Ripple today, which, boy, it's certainly showing signs of life. Now, it had been long been given up for dead. Well, there is a Ripple army out there that has maintained the faith, and we're starting to see, perhaps we're coming out of this incredibly long consolidation that we've been in. Now, I've just wicked off a couple of key pivots here. I'm just using a prior low here that seems to... market has respected that, and then just the series of lows here, this low over here, and then we tapped it again. So, certainly there's an argument to be made that this has all just been one massive accumulation. Now, if we're going to get a true alt season, this would certainly be a harbinger of good things to come. If we can get out of here and start to go again in Ripple, and good things for the crypto space. So we're not there yet, right? It's interesting how we're stalling right at that resistance. But if you think well, if you're thinking in terms of a Wyckoff cause and effect, this is one massive cause. Boy, is there a big upside here. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but good signs of life. Now, of course, what you'd hope here is that if we're going to come out, we might come back and retest all of that before we really get legs. So just visually, it's hard to miss that. Hang on a sec. All right, before I forget, because we get a lot of emails asking about this. Apparently people recall this. So Black Friday's coming up. Of course, we're going to participate that. We are offering these pretty aggressive savings here. It's all on multi-month. All right, so we're going to do 30% on the 3-month, 35 on the 6. Now, this is the one, I mean, a lot of people wait for this one. And we have members that have been with us for years that stick around, right? Or take advantage of this when it comes around. So that's the big one, 40% off your yearly. That's probably as low as we'll ever go again. But that's where the big savings is. So if you're ever been on the fence, or you're perhaps in the monthly and you're thinking about I might stick around for a little while. I like what I'm seeing here. This is a way to take advantage of that. And if you're not a member, or perhaps a free member, or this is what you wait for. So if you want to dabble on maybe taking a look at what we're doing, you can always come in for free, right? We've talked about that many times. The free Discord link is directly under the video in the promo. It's the first link you'll see. That'll drop you into the Discord. Doesn't give you access to everything, of course, but you'll need to connect it to the website. When you land in the Discord, that's all you're going to see is this instructions on how to create your account on the website. Again, there's no credit card, nothing required. But you got to connect the two, right? Otherwise, you don't get access to the white belt and some of the channels in the Discord that are available to you as a free member. So just a reminder, because I get people to say, "Well, shit, man, where's the white belt? I came in here, I can't see anything." Right? We literally put it right in your face. So it should be relatively straightforward. We've tried to really change the wording so that everybody's clear. There is no commitment to creating an account on the website. It just gets you access to the white belt. All right, so there you go. That'll be running. Oh shit! I guess we'll run that through the week, probably through the end of the week, Sunday. All right, so keep that in mind. I'll probably mention it a few more times. Okay, so let's get back to Ripple. All right, so from the 12-hour here, always good, right? See, it's so easy. You looked, when I first pulled it up, I think I pulled up a 60-minute. I was like, holy shit, how did this happen? And I didn't see it. But you come back out to the daily, the 12-hour, and okay, a little perspective. All right, but let's go down. Let's go down to the 4, where we can start to get a look at what's happening here. So I'm just kind of framing the price action here off of important pivots. So I don't care how you get here. I'm this is COVID low. All of crypto was an ugly one, but certainly just kind of sitting here saying, well, what are the odds that that's a 2? I might get it right on there. Well, we're 50 to the tick. Boy, they don't set up much better than that. Right, so where's our shorthand? Now, you'll note here, right, we often use this as our shorthand for the wave 3, but because we don't go to the golden zone here, we got a little bit more distance, but we're mighty close. And interestingly, note that prior resistance, that prior low that I had wicked off, look where that lines up. Interesting. So we'll see if we can get there. Certainly from the 50 here, as we now have tagged third target, the 1, 2, if I go, let's go, it looks like there's a bit of a triangle. Excuse me. What am I trying to do? Open this up. Some sort of a... Either way, this is you can just look at this. Count shit. Who cares, right? I mean, does it really matter? It's very 4-ish, right? Probably. Whoa. Got a good trade going on over there. I hear that cash register ringing. Okay, so this, yeah, fuck, right. You know, it's 4-ish, right? Doesn't really matter. So, shit, let's open that up just a little bit. Is there a straight triangle in there? Yeah, I guess you'd go A, B, C. That's a little funky here. Maybe not, right? So, I mean, God, those wicks, you know, so when you see that, right, the first thing I want to do is do that, right? A, B, C, D. That looks like that's your E here. All right, if you, I know, purists are going to want to get that just right. You know, so you look at that and you go, what do you do with that, right? It's just indecision is really what it is. But it did give us a little bit of a base to rip from. Now, this Ripple does do this, right? You got those wicked wicks. You know, that's, well, much of crypto is prone to that, but Ripple is a bit notorious for that. So let's see, are we done here? Well, that's not the cleanest count. Again, even coming back here, 1-ish, maybe here. It looks like there's. Let's come back here to candles. This kind of, you know, throws the count into, you know, what do you do with that? I mean, it traded there, right? So we can't just reject it. I don't know that I would use it. I don't think I'd go 1, 2. Sorry. Let's pull back out here. So 4-ish up. It would be reasonable for us to be finishing here. And I'm not saying short it, but I'm just saying if you're not in and you're looking for an on-ramp, that's not a bad place to look. All right. Sorry, back. So what is there an on-ramp here? Well, let's go back to that 8. Well, so I mean, it's hard to think of this as anything but the 3. So while, you know, as we frame that up initially, the idea that we might come back here and test the structure that we broke out from, I don't think we're. If this is the 4 into the 5, I'm not anticipating we're going to come down that deeply. So let's just look at, right. We don't have this yet, right? So maybe that's our pivot. Maybe pull this off here. Down to our 2. So how do we line up here? Well, you know, I don't like to see the 38 just right in, you know, mid air. I've got nothing to kind of key off of there. Always nice if you can get some structure here. I mean, this is a little, you know, maybe this looks a little bit better here where I've got kind of some multiples here. These are wicks getting through, but I think I've got just bodies here. This is all just wicks. So this looks reasonable here. Now, right, so, you know, of course, I've told you guys many times, right, when we go up that fast, we don't have a base here. So that's why I'm looking for something to key off of if as we start to come down, because we went up so fast, right, it's prone to come right back down. There's no base here. So then you got to look left and say, can I work with a prior zone of structure here to see if that's going to give me, you know, maybe something to work with. So even if you frame this out, oh, God, come here. I'm getting much better with those. There's not really anything great here. These wicks are so fair, right? So this is not great here, but I suppose we could use this prior resistance and put us down here. So if we're going to come deeper on the 4, ideally, of course, you don't want the 4 to go deep. 23 is ideal, right? Strength of trend, and it would get us out of this zone. So you'll recall that. If I zoom back here, right, that was an important resistance level here. So, pardon me, it was support. Of course, we got through it, came back as the resistance. Now, if we're going to struggle here with that and come back down here to some of this prior structure, I think you got to like that if it's a clean 3. Going too fast again. All right, if we get any sort of a clean 3 here that we could play off of that, it's hard not to like that. Now, if you're not in, of course, we're vulnerable here to the deeper retracement. So if you're not in, one thought is to let this impulse complete. I know we don't know. Nothing says it has to stop there. Excuse me, but that's one thought, right? So if you're not in this, if you weren't a buyer down here, this is a dangerous thing to chase, right? We've seen Ripple do this before, right? We've seen it. Now this is the timing here is much better in terms of the broader crypto space. So if we're going to come down to a 4.5, that's tradable. Especially, I mean, Ripple trades at 40 cents, right? So, I mean, this is tradable. I don't know that I would go heavy here because you're vulnerable because of the speed with which it went up. But if you the safer play would just be sit tight, let the impulse complete, and then we'll wherever, if we use this, come down for this zone here and kind of. We don't have the pivot, but something like that, even if you fatten it up and say, okay, this range looks pretty good. Well, now we're, again, I don't have this up here, but if we were getting something down like this to come back down here and test some of this structure, it's hard not to like that. Right? That's the one I would wait for. I mean, this, you got to be hardcore Ripple fan to be looking for that. This, I'd love to see that complete. So we were rock solid on the 5 here. I mean, so you think of that and you go, oh, shit, man, I kind of want to get in this now. Well, then you got to wait for the 4, right, to ride that. But I wouldn't be assuming, if I'm in that, we're off to, $3 again. Market, is it possible? Of course, right? We always got to put that qualifier in there. Excuse me, but is that probable? We're going to go back to all-time highs, right? So it's just getting started. First, let's get out of the structure. Let's get through that pivot. What are we doing down here? It's pretty hot on the RSI for an 8-hour. I will often do this, just kind of grab a line and say, okay, well, there I am. That's my high. And we've been back here. Right? So last time, geez, can I even get them to show? Last time, all right, then we got the blow off top here. Didn't get. I mean, that's really, it's much like Bitcoin, right? We're up in the 93s. That's 96. I think, indicators can stay pinned for a long time, but it's not likely to stay up there at 96 for much longer. Right? It's just the way the markets move, right? So people that caught this, right, the temptation to take profit is going to be very strong. So keep that in mind. It's certainly technically overbought, although that's you got to be careful about how you think of overbought, because markets can stay overbought for a long time. But that if you're impatient, there's your 4 to your 5. If you want to be thinking more long term and maybe to park some money here for the long term ride, I'd wait for the 2 myself. Right, if we get it, and wait and see what are we pulling from here. Right, we don't for all we know it keeps going, and then you might get something just ideal, right, where you got your 2 and your golden zone right here. Right, then clear stop around the 1. That would be perfect. Now, we're going to get up to 73 cents. Well, nothing says we can't. Okay, so there we go. I'll probably give you enough to chew on here. So get it on your watch list. Set some alerts. First things first. We don't have the pivot here yet. Now that could be it. We're backing off a little bit, but keep it on your watch list. Just set an alert, and that way you don't have to babysit it. Okay, guys, there we go. All right, I'll be back. We'll look at 1 or 2 more. And, but now I've got my indicator special, too. Okay, all right, back to you.